Swimming had been my most favorite activity, sport, and hobby since I was small. It was also the only sport I was good at. Because I was so passionate about it, my parents had paid for the lessons since I was a child. But later in high school, I took swimming, so there was no need of putting extra cash in training out of school. I was undoubtedly the best swimmer in the school, and all of my friends knew that. However, my school coach was not the best or even good at all. It was mostly because he was so biased. He would never give me a chance to compete in any of the competitions or championships, even when I was the best of all, because he wanted his own son in that position. He would never win any of those because he wasn't even as good as me. But every other competition, the coach would send his son to compete. I couldn't even complain to the principal, as he would turn a blind eye every time I did, because the coach and him were related. But before we move on, like this video, hit that subscribe button and activate the notification bell, and you will find something mysterious in your house. Trust me, it works. However, I never gave up hope and still stayed late after school and practiced hard. Still, nothing good came out of it. And also, my parents supported my dreams and paid for my training. They couldn't afford to sponsor me to championships. It took a lot of money. My dad didn't have a job that paid much. But one day, he came home with some good news. "I'm getting promoted," he said as soon as he entered the home after returning from work. Mom and I were so happy, as it was such wonderful news. However, it was not all happy news as we had thought, as the offer of promotion came with a catch. He told us that he was getting a raise and promoted to a higher level, but we had to move to a new place, a rural island, and settle there. So later that day, my mom and dad came to my room to talk to me about it. They asked me about how I felt about moving because I would have to transfer to a school there. "It's a big step, as much for you as us, so you have a say in this. Let us know what you want to do," my mom said. But at that moment, I really felt like I needed to think about it, so I asked them to give me some time to think, and that was exactly what they did. Consequently, at that time, I was feeling so grateful for my parents, since they were so thoughtful when it came to me. So after they left, I started thinking about a lot of things, like my biased school swimming team coach who would never let me perform to my potential, or even give me the spotlight instead of his own son. Then I thought about my friends who only liked living the rich life, so I had to stay behind in the plans they made most of the time because I couldn't afford their habits. The more I thought about it, the more I figured how I had nothing to stay behind for. And besides, the island itself was not a bad place. It was a huge and mysterious kind of island. From the pictures I looked at on the internet, it seemed well inhabited, however, kind of rural with small patches of towns. "It is quite unique," I said to myself as I thought of it more, and that was when I made my decision. I went straight down to the living room where my parents were and told them that I was all in and couldn't wait to move. "I feel like this change is for the good," I said. And just like that, in no time, we were on the move. We arrived at the house that the company had bought as a gift for my father for the promotion. It was our first time seeing the house properly, as we had only seen pictures of it before. It was an old but decent house with nothing special about it, but it was our own, so we were good with that. We were very tired that day, so we cleared off the thoughts of exploring the house and went straight to our rooms to get some rest. After a few days, I also got the chance to finally go to my new school, which, too, was nothing special, and, to me, it wasn't a surprise, as the entire island was the same. However, there was one thing. Being a school on an island, there were a lot of students playing water sports. So there's going to be a lot of competition, I thought, seeing a lot of students in the competitive swimming lessons. But as long as it was a fair and square competition, it was fine for me because at least there was a chance for me to win. That was the one thing that motivated me the most, and I was actually happy I moved there with my parents. And also not having to see the face of my horrible coach was a relief. However, even if the things were positive for me for the sports subject, it was not so in making friends. It was because even after a week of starting the school, I hadn't made a single friend. It was tougher than I had thought. Because of that reason, I had no one to go out with to explore the island during the weekends. And also, because my mom was still busy settling in and decorating the house, while my dad was busy in the office. Yes, even on the weekends. So I thought of an awesome plan to spend the whole weekend at home. As bad as it sounds, I hadn't gotten a chance to explore my house properly after moving in, and finally there was a chance. First, I went to the attic, and I would bet $20 if there was anything other than just dust. I instantly regretted going up there and came down instantly. After that, I went to the rooms on the main floor, one after another, and there wasn't anything interesting to see there either. Then, I went to the basement, thinking I would certainly find something interesting there. But when I reached it, I realized I shouldn't have expected that much of it. There was some old furniture there and an old bookshelf which was all dusty. I looked around some more and checked the furniture, but there was nothing else. At that point, I was a little frustrated as I had thought my weekend would be better than that. Out of frustration, I kicked the wall of the basement near the bookshelf, but right then, I realized something. The part of the wall where I had kicked made a sound as if it was hollow on the other side. But I had to be sure, so I knocked on that part one more time and on another wall opposite of it to compare. There is something there, I said to myself, and got somewhat excited to see what was actually there. For that, with all my strength, I pushed the heavy bookshelf aside. It was really heavy, and finally I got the bookshelf out of the way, but I was all out of breath by then. After that, I ripped the wallpaper covering the wall to reveal what seemed like a door. A secret door, I said to myself. I tried to open it, but found out that it was screwed shut. There was no way for me to open it since I wasn't very familiar with the machinery, and only my father could help me with it. So I ran upstairs in a hurry and told my mom how I found a secret door in our house in the basement, but my mom had the most uninterested response ever. "What about it?" she said, and I didn't want to talk further about it with her, but it was a big deal for me, so I replied, "It's screwed shut. There must be a room in there, and I want to open it. When's Dad coming home?" She told me that it was an old house and that the original owners must have shut it because there was no need for it. After that, she went to the garage to clean it, and I just sat there waiting for my dad to come back home. But a while later, I got bored and curious too, so I started searching every inch of our house's walls to check if there were more of those secret doors, like the one in the basement. But to my disappointment, there was nothing. So I just waited for my dad to return, but my mom gave me more news to add to the disappointment. She told me that Dad would have to stay in the office till late at night as something urgent came up and his work was not done yet. After hearing that, I got sad and went directly to my room to get some sleep as it was that time already. I was just lying in my bed thinking about what could be inside those locked doors and was almost asleep, but I suddenly got a strong urge to go and check if I could open the door one more time. Like that, I headed downstairs and then down to the basement. When I reached it, to my surprise, the door that was screwed shut just moments before was now wide open. Without thinking anything about the possibility of how it happened, I just let myself in the secret room. There was a switch that, when I turned it on, lit a small old bulb that surprisingly was working, although a little dim. The lights revealed the room clearly, and it was smaller than I had expected. There were only tools, like helmets, flashlights, and a hammer in small shelves in the room, but that was not it. There was a small opening on the other side of the room, which I figured out to be a tunnel. After seeing all that, I couldn't contain my curiosity, so I grabbed the flashlight, put on the helmet, and started following the tunnel. I walked for 5 minutes before finally coming to the point from where I could see the end, as there was some light coming from in there. So I just started running towards the light, and when I reached the end, I couldn't believe what I saw. There was a beautiful blue lagoon surrounded by trees in what seemed like a forest of some sort, and it was perfectly lit by the full moon of that night. First, I was awestruck by that view. Then, I felt super happy and excited. I have my own private lagoon. I thought further, thinking about how I could practice my swimming techniques and beat everyone in the championships. I thought about how I would look so cool when I invited my friends from my previous school to hang out and chill. Like that, I got so lost in my thoughts that I didn't get a sense of the fact that I was moving closer and closer to the lagoon. And it was too late when I realized because I slipped and lost control and fell into the lagoon. I instantly got my head above the water to breathe, but then I realized something. I wasn't feeling cold because of the water, nor was I wet. Then I looked around to see that I was not in a lagoon or anything but my room, and I had fallen off my bed. That meant all that I had experienced just now was nothing but a dream, and the door to the secret room was still shut. So I got up, but just as I was getting back to my bed, I heard my dad's car pull up in the garage, and again, my curiosity kicked in. I am not going to wait till the morning, I said to myself, and ran down the stairs in my pajamas, directly to open the front door for Dad, so that he would unscrew and open the locked door to the secret room. Thanks for watching. Do you want to know what was behind that door? Give us 20,000 likes on this video for part 2. Don't forget to subscribe and check out other videos on the channel.